Meri Atelier, and this is Sunday evening, May the 21st. Welcome to my desk. Welcome to my desk. Let me zoom in just a little bit, or out just a little bit. Gonna get a little shaky camera here while I get set up. It's just, I can't set this up until I go live on the phone. Hi, Sherry Van. Oh, it's good to see you. Hi, Jacqueline. Well, I tell you, I was going to do my podcast as a verbal video podcast and unlisted and just talk, not do a live stream. However, when I got to researching it, I said, this is so fun. I want to share it. I want to share it. So let me get my, whoops, I don't want to power off. Let me set my chat up over here so that I can welcome folks in. Welcome, welcome to my desk. How have you all been? Have you been having a good weekend? I need to set the quality up here. I've had a pretty restful weekend. I didn't do much yesterday, but Friday we had a big day, wore me out. And then today I got some things done early this morning, and I slept this afternoon. Hi, Nashwa. Welcome, welcome. It's good to see you. Okay, let me tip my... So what I'm going to talk about, and as we get going here, I certainly do not mind if you join in. I'm going to talk about a topic that's familiar to all of us, and that is art journaling. Art journaling. Oh, we know about art journaling, don't we? Yeah. Jacqueline says, the weekend flew by. I need 2 days of work and a 5-day weekend. Isn't that the truth, Jacqueline? Isn't that the truth? We need that kind of reversed. Instead of 5 days of work and 2-day weekend, we need 2 days of work and a 5-day weekend. Sherry says, I had my grandson's birthday party here. I'm worn out. Boy, I'll bet you are. I'll bet you are. Welcome, 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 welcome. Well, this is the first quarter. Well, actually, 1 month over a quarter. This is the first 4 months of my 2023 desk journal, which is an art journal. And it does not take long, does it, to fill something. This is at least 3 inches here. Well, I think my spine was 2.5, but it alligators out a little. So yeah, about 2.5 inches. And I'm not going to work in it. I'm just showing it here. And art journaling. We do art journaling. And so what I wanted to do was a podcast on art journaling. Now this is, I'm doing them in signatures. Every month I do a signature. And let me turn this upside down. This is my May. I call this a desk journal. It's a desk art journal. And this is the portion for May. There are all sorts of journals, all sorts of art journals. This is, I have several front porch journals. And it is an art journal. It's more of a junk journal. It's a journal that I take outside when I sit on the front porch. We have a little porch swing out there. And I sit out there and I do a lot of writing. But I also do sketches, and as you can see, it's just made up of various pieces of scrap paper, envelopes, project papers left over. This was a top of a watercolor pad, a doily. So I haven't done any sketching in this yet, but I will as I sit at, well, I did this. I used this fairy. These are fairies hidden in the grass here. I did this online. But you'll see things like this compiled into my art journal, and sometimes I'll sit out there and sketch. Mostly I have written. And the reason I got it out is that I'm going to look at some of these questions that I noted. Here, I did this too with metallic markers. Right here. So I want to keep this out. This is my May art journal, the signature for it. Let me set this over here. We'll be wanting to use this. And I'm going to be doing some recording here, so let me set this over here. Let me get it set up. I have my scissors out here. Let's put these away. Yep. Jacqueline says, I'm so happy to be here. I missed you, Meri. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm happy to be here too. I'm slowly getting my energy back. I lost a lot of energy when I took that tumble. And I just, you know, I haven't felt like doing much. But this is for May. I took the tumble in April. Well, this is another journal. This came to me from Becky, and it came to me as a craft paper journal. And I have been, or had been, painting the pages white because I'm going to make it a napkin journal. These are napkins. So I work on these when I get the oomph to do it. So journals, art journals in various stages. This is what I have for May, and then I have some inset pages. But I have some fussy cuts here. This little pocket came to me from Arlene. The background page is a page I got from Keisha's auction from Amanda. She sells digitals, and I bought her spring digital. And so you can put all sorts of things in your art journals. Like here, I've been playing with wax seals, and it looks like my wax seal here came off. But here are some more wax seals that I just put in here. And then I have blank pages, which will be coming up. I'll be putting things in there. This is a group list that we did. So you can put all sorts of things in your art journal. I call these group lists when I come online. Tell Meri what other hobbies you enjoy. And we've got a list of hobbies here. And I'm not sure who it was, but somebody said, you didn't say knitting. You didn't say knitting. So I'm going to put knitting on here. And I said, I'll add it to the list. And there's more over here because this should really go like so. I might have to redo this list so that it falls all together. This is another group list that we did. Tell me, what is your favorite household item? I might just have to put these in pockets. And, you know, I used, this is a pad, a calendar pad that I got at the thrift store, but it goes by week. And I love it for the little birds here and the days of the week here. And this was some Happy Mail, more of Amanda's art that I'm using as interest pages. Here's some insert pages. This is a project list that I float from month to month. Here's my page with the bobblehead doll. I'm trying to do a bobblehead doll every month. This is the one for May. He's got a bobblehead. And I'm into doing shadow boxes. I don't know where there's more to this art journal because I've got a section with shadow box and some other things. So, but this is a portion of May, and then this is my Happy Memories jar, some envelopes that I did for myself. And I think I had a couple postcards there. But this is generally what I put in my art journal. Now, what I want to do is fold some pages here because we're going to have some fun with researching art journals. And I'm going to start out. So we've got 22 people in here. Let me come in. I'll fold these as I go. Let me look at chat and welcome folks in. Hi, Cheryl. Welcome, Cheryl. It's good to see you. Hi, Melody. It's good to see you too. Welcome, ladies. Hi, Joyce. I always say Joyce brings the joy. Just with her name, Joyce. Joyce. Melody loves her hobbies. And Lisa. Hi, Lisa. My eclectic life. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who else am I missing here? Jacqueline and Sherry Van and Nashua. And I think I have you all. And welcome to everybody up in the balcony who's just not ready to chat, but sitting up there in the balcony enjoying the show. I do that a lot too, especially when I'm crocheting or something. My hands are busy, and when your hands are busy, it's hard to type into chat. Lisa says she's doing good. Well, that's good news. So what I want to do first is just a small list, a small group list. And I don't expect this to be a long drawn out thing, but what are types of art journals that we do? Types of art journaling. Types of art journals. Now, I think of like junk journals. Junk journals. Glue books, Lisa says. Yeah, glue books. We have fun with our glue books. I'm going to put themed, THEMED art journals. And I'm thinking of things like Rosemary does, like she'll do Oriental, she'll do, I'm just trying to think of some steampunk. Why is my head blank? Because I haven't been over to Rosemary's for a while. She did a anthropology one. She did an Egyptian one. So she did, every month she did a Route 66, a Route 66, Cowgirl. So themed art journals. Trashy junk journal, Nashua says. That's similar to a junk journal, but we're going to do the trashy because trashy can take on a whole different theme. Things you normally throw away, kind of similar. Melody said she's working on a bird junk journal. So we'll put bird, that kind of falls under theme and junk journal, but we'll just list it there. Bird junk journal. And then, we just have our regular art. Well, let's put collage art journals. We just have our regular art journals where we do painting and quotes. I'm just going to put art journals. Art journals. I can't think of, I'm going to put general. And we have our idea collecting as art journals, idea collecting. Lovely, it is, what we're doing here for the list is different types of art journals. The Soapbox, I'm doing this as a live stream, my Soapbox as a live stream, but it is all about art journaling, and we're going to have some fun later on here after we do this list. I'm going to show you some things that I found very interesting while I was researching this. Doodle art journal. Doodle art journal. That's a good one. Blackout poetry. Now that's where you go to like a text page and you pick out certain words and highlight them and black out everything else around them, and it becomes a poetry on the page depending on the words that you pick out. I like that. I haven't done that as a specific art journal, but that would be fun to do. How about zines? Our zines are art journaling, most of them. X-ray or negatives. That's interesting. X-ray or negatives. And along with that, there's the black and white only. Black and white only. And Dee Dee, she'll do color. She was doing color, different colors last year. There's art journaling where there's just drawing or sketching only. Drawing or sketching, that big book that Little Red Wagon sent to me. I'm just doing sketches, pen and ink sketches in that, mostly portraits. Now this, I'm going to put paint, and maybe I'll find some images of books or something to put on there. And let's see. Transparent journal, Jacqueline says. That's a good one. 16. There are transparent journals. We have seasonal journals, like Becky did one for, she did a series of spring, fall, winter, summer, winter. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. So I'm going to put seasonal. Art journaling. Art journals. Desk journal. Yes. What is it called when you use the extra paint to wipe off into pages? Well, you call them, generally you call them wipe off pages, but who's that artist that calls them underpants? It's underpainting. She calls them underpants. But you can take a book. I know what you're talking about, Jacqueline. You can take a book, like a dictionary, and wipe off pages. And I'm doing one where I'm not really wiping off paint, and I need to get that out. I'm calling it my Crack-a-Lackin' art journal, where because Dee Dee Willingham at one point, a year or so ago, was talking about her art journal where she wanted to do something where she just you know, smeared paint on the page first, and then she came in and did the backgrounds, did the art over it. And I said, oh, and she said, she mentioned me and Southern Gal Designs. And I'm going, I'm not sure I really did a specific journal of that. I better get crack-a-lackin' on it. So I'm going to call it the paint. Well, let's paint wipe off. Just because I can't think of anything right now. Let's see. I had a thought and it just ran away from me. Desk journals. Yeah, the desk. Now, what I'm doing now is a desk art journal. What I showed you here with that, just a few, where did I put it down here? I'm calling this, let me lift it up. I'm calling this a desk art journal, and it's going to go by year. But you can do yearly art journals. You can do them by month. I had a thought, and it just ran away from me. But you can also do art journals where you're just experimenting with techniques. Cat Hand does a lot of technique art journaling, where her mixed media morsels, a couple years ago, she did mixed media morsels where every page was a different technique. And then, this is 20, 21. You just have art journaling where you just experiment and play. It's your playground, where you just try different things, or you're not concerned about it being a beautiful piece of art. I'm just going to leave it as playground. And that brings me to magazine art journaling. Janet Nash did that, where she cut out a shape. I think she did a heart, if I remember right. And she cut the magazine pages into the shape of a heart. Now I'm cutting mine into the shape of Penelope here, my pages, and the magazine will be the shape of my Penelope pincushion doll. Also, there's quote art journals, quote art journaling, and napkins, where you just collage in different napkins, napkin collage. How about reverse collage? Dee Dee does a lot. Dee Dee Willingham does a lot of reverse collage, where she'll go in and she'll take a page and she'll paint out all the text or anything on that page that she doesn't want, and she paints around the areas that she does want, and then she creates art around what's left on the page. So I'm going to call that reverse collage, because that's what she does. There's also mini art journals, which are small. Like the zines are generally pretty small, but we make these smaller art journals, like matchbook art journals. I'm going to put matchbook just because it's on the tip of my tongue. Then we just have writing journals. Think of what Barb Owen does. Barb Owen likes to write, and she has a coffee house that she goes to. I think she goes to Starbucks, but she might go to another coffee shop there in her town. And she'll find her favorite seat, and she'll take out her pen and her journal. And it's a writing art journal, but she adds things to it. Like she'll add, when she went to like her son's wedding, and she had little mini photographs that she added down onto the borders like that. Random thought, a fabric journal. Yeah, okay, let's see. Let me catch up. Society of Idea Collectors. That I got idea collecting, I think, over here. Idea collecting, I'm going to put hashtag SOIC. swatch journal, where you're keeping track of various things, and it doesn't have to be only fabric. You can have a swatch journal. Maybe you're home decorating, and you're gathering ideas and swatches and pieces for a room that you want to, or maybe you're not. Maybe it's maybe you're just gathering pieces, which brings us to 32, which would be we collect ephemera in our art journal. Becky has, and several of you do, I know, you have your photo albums where you put different pieces of ephemera that you find. Becky, I think, sorts hers out by color. I'm not entirely sure of all of that, but collect ephemera collection. What else do we have? Fabric art journaling, where we use different fabric pages. Random thoughts. And we'll end it here. Swatches like an ink journal. Okay, random thoughts. And we're going to quit here. Random thoughts, just because. I think Lisa Conway does a just because, doesn't she? I think somebody else does too. A just because journal. Swatches like an ink journal. Okay. Swatch journal. We'll just call it. We'll end it here at 35. So there's probably more that we're missing, but this is a nice list of different types of art journaling. So in my curiosity, how many of you are, and don't give the negative right offhand, because it's easy to start out with this thought and go right to the negative. How many of you, it's a fairly new tool. In fact, the stable, they call it the stable release of OpenAI's chatbot. How many of you have used that? I said I was going to do an entire podcast on just artificial intelligence in art, and I might come back to that. But I wanted to talk about art journaling, and I thought I'm going to go out and use Chatbox. So on my phone here, and I'm going to share this with you because I had a much better experience with it than I anticipated. We immediately have a negative, artificial intelligence is going to take over the world and will be killed by robots. Well, you need it, and it's not human, and you just can't get the same feel for your art. And that is a valid point. I think I watched Casey Neistat, and he was doing an open AI where he went out, and I don't know what generator he used. There are several different types of bot generators, open AI generators out there, and you'd have to go look at his video. It's a couple of weeks ago. Casey Neistat is a well-known video producer, very popular out there. And he did a tour of New York City. And he asked for a tour of New York City, and then he followed all the points. And he showed all these different parts of New York City. And then when he came back, he said his summary was that it was flat. It didn't have soul. And I can see his point of view. However, I think he didn't take into consideration that he's lived in New York City for several years. Well, I think he and his wife moved out to California, but now they've moved back to New York City. He probably knows New York City and all of the hot spots and the fun places to go more than you and I would. And while I found the tour of New York City quite interesting, I wasn't expecting. I don't think I came to it watching his video in the same sense that he did, because he knew New York City. He goes around on his skateboard all over around into New York City. I don't have a link to that, but that was kind of, I kind of watched a couple of artificial intelligence videos where artists they'll take an image and put it in there and or tell them, draw me a picture. I think somebody did a Bible one of Jesus walking on the water, and the bot, the artificial intelligence generator, returned a picture, but it wasn't a very good one. So to me, AI, open artificial intelligence, especially at the point that, now just take, this is Chatbox. They just released their stable chatbot generator 9 days ago. You know, you go through software design, you go all through all the designing stages, and then you develop all the software, and you have several different types of releases, alpha and beta, and all of that. They just released what they're calling their stable chat box 9 days ago. So artificial intelligence itself is kind of in its infancy. And I think we as artists tend to poo-poo it, saying that, oh, it's not human, so the art just can't be quite as good. And that there is a point to that. However, I look at artificial intelligence as a tool, especially a chat box. For me personally, when I got into researching art journaling on Chatbox, which we're going to ask it some questions here, I found the results quite interesting. The same, it's kind of the same as if you go to Google and would Google art journaling. And if you type in art journaling, just art journaling on Google, you'll just get a flood. I mean, it's Google. You'll get just a general term like that. You could spend days and weeks and months going through all of those links. And good for them, you know. Chatbox, well, you'll see as we get into it, is more of a conversational. You ask it a question, and it interprets that question and feeds you back information. Now, they do say that their information that they gather on there could have some errors. We'll read that. And, you have to be kind of careful with interpreting what it tells you, but it does return information, and it can spark some ideas. And I found it really fun to talk to it, because it's like when you go to Amazon or some of these customer services now, unless generally when you type in a question, and even on YouTube, they have help bots out there, and you're not talking to a real person, you're talking to a bot. Let's just say I go to YouTube and I want to know how to change the title on my video after it's been processed. Well, I could type that question into the help chat box there, and it won't immediately go out to a customer service representative. It will go out, gather what information about titling your videos that it can, and then it'll return all their help tools. And then you read through that, and that's really a help. There are other areas where you're asking it something really specific. Like, I want to know if I can put a live stream like I'm doing right now, even though I've called it a podcast, can I put it into the podcast playlist that YouTube developed, even though it's a live stream? And I think the answer is yes, but I answered that. I asked that just I asked it in Google, and I really did not get the answer that I wanted right offhand. Now, I don't think I'll get it in the chat box either. Could be the way I was asking it. But some of the questions, what I'm getting at, are pretty technical, where you really need to talk to. Let's say your channel's been hacked. God forbid. Your channel's been hacked. You really want to talk to a person. And the chat box, where you're looking for general information, can return the information you need, and it will take away from the time that a real live person may be needing to go over here and helping somebody whose channel has been hacked. So I feel like I'm kind of lenient right now toward AI. If it gets to the point that any tool can be misused for harm. And excuse me, I was taking a drink of water. And I think AI is a tool that can be used for good, as we use it to develop things, or it can be used for harm. As artists, now let's get away from just asking questions. Let's get into generating images. I have not found a good image generator yet on mobile. There are probably some out there. I've seen some other artists use image generators, but I really haven't on my mobile phone, and that's what I use to do most of my research. I very seldom even go on the laptop anymore. I like it that my mobile phone can be right here in my hand. I can take it out on the front porch and research whatever I want to research, my topic. So, but I think the chat box, the OpenAI, has an image generator, and I did go to it hoping to be able to generate an image, but they want, what did they call? They wanted some sort of credits, and you had to either get free credits from some place or buy credits. So I think for the images, for right now, at least for OpenAI, and that's what their website is called, OpenAI. I think right now you have to have some sort of a credit to be able to use the image generator. But let's pretend that I have what I need, and I go out there and I tell it to generate me an image of a pincushion doll. And so it may go out there and gather the information off the internet of what a pincushion doll is, maybe some examples of what it might look like, and it may find some public domain images out there and alter them and return an image. Well, okay, you could call that art in a sense, but it's not art that you did with your hands on. You didn't draw it, you didn't paint it. You told the image generator to create it for you. But you can take that image just as you would any other photo image and use it as an idea generator the same way as you would words. It's visual information versus written text information. And that's probably how I would use it. It's interesting because I talked about that biblical, somebody did, and it's out there in YouTube someplace. I don't have the link. I just watched it a couple months ago where this artist asked the image generator that he was using to generate a image of the section in the Bible where Jesus walks on the water. And it generated the image. I think it had 3 or 4 images of Jesus, and it was probably trying to interpret Jesus walking, because he was commenting how it had several images of Jesus, and it was probably trying to show movement, the AI, as I think about that being returned. That's how I would have interpreted Jesus walking. But I would take that image itself and try to find something in there I'm not sure about Jesus walking on the water, maybe the turbulent sea. You could, you know, get some ideas off of the turbulent sea, maybe some fish in there, and poor little Peter, I think, sinking, yelling for help. But I would see it more as a tool. As a tool, it could go out there and verbally. You can't do that. I don't think you can do that with our chat box now. It will not return, but it won't return images. It will return links, certain links. But I ask it, and I'll show that here. I said, can you give me the link to the Meri Atelier YouTube channel? And it said, at our current stage of development, we cannot return links of the YouTube channels. So it couldn't, and if I went to Google, I'd get it and several other links. I'd get my main page and I'd get several other links to my pages on my YouTube channel. I'm going to share with you, I have several questions that I ask it, and we're going to ask them in here. And let's just hop to it. But before we do that, let's get out here and welcome people into chat. Hi, Dar. Welcome, Dar. Let me refresh my chat to make sure I have the freshest version. Dar is here. Ali K. Hi, Ali K. Thank you. Ali K dropped a link to the openai.com, and that's where we're going to go on my phone here. That's it. So you have to have an account to log in, but right now it's free. I don't know if it's going to be free forever, but just depending. But their image generator, I don't think you can get out there to it, but in order to generate an image, you have to have something that they call credits. So, and I'm not sure, I didn't fool around with trying to get credits. Let's see, Dar is here, Ali K. Becky dropped in. Hi, Becky. She said, I just popped in to say hello. I hope everyone has a good weekend ahead. Well, hello back at you, Becky. I think Becky did a treasure hunt, a thrift video. I haven't had time to get out there and look at it, but I certainly want to. I love Becky's thrifting videos. I'll get out there and look at it, Becky. Casey Neistat on his vlog. Thank you, Ali K, for dropping those links. I appreciate it. Casey Neistat is really fun to watch. He's got a really interesting point of view. And I'll tell you, he goes through that New York City traffic on a skateboard. And just, I hold my breath. I'm going, hold on, we're going for a skateboard ride. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Becky says SOIC stands for the Society of Idea Collectors. And we're back up to where we were talking about journals. So I'm caught up. Well, welcome to folks, and welcome to you if you're up in the balcony. Welcome to folks that may be watching this on the replay. I found this to be a very, very interesting topic, and I enjoyed the session that I had with the chat box. And that's where we're going to go right here. Now, I'm going to share some things. This is where I came in. I'll just share some general things that I asked at first, so you get a sense of where I was going with this. I said, I went out there. It says, chat about anything. And I said, can we chat? And it says, of course, I'm here to chat with you. What would you like to talk about? Not my personal problems. And I said, can I use this while live streaming on YouTube? And it says, it returns an answer here. It says, because I wanted to know if I could share chat box session while I was live streaming, if I would be violating any type of their, right now it's pretty open. It's open AI, open artificial intelligence. So right now I can. I don't know about the future. And, they may change that, but according to today's time, I can. So I'm going off of that. It says, yes, you can use this language model while live streaming on YouTube. However, please note that I'm only an AI language model and do not have direct integration or access to live stream platforms. So it's saying I can't come join your live stream. Oh, wouldn't that be fun to have a chat box as a guest? And in a sense, it is a guest, but it's more of a I'm typing in questions like I would Google. It's not a guest, but it would be fun to have a chat box as a guest. That would be fun. Anyway, it said you would need to have a separate setup to interact with me during your live stream. And that's what we have with my camera, and I'm accessing my channel and doing a live stream. Additionally, it's important to remember that I can generate text responses based on the input provided to me. So it's crucial to review and moderate the content to ensure it aligns with your live stream's guidelines. So we're going to talk about art journaling, but it's important not to ask, lewd questions and stuff like that. And community standards. So we don't want to violate we don't want to get stuff in here that would violate YouTube standards. And I said, can you return web links? And it says, as a text-based AI language model, I can generate and provide web links as a part of my responses. However, I cannot directly open or browse the web links, as I do not have direct access to the internet. So it isn't going to go out like it's kind of like what you guys do. You return the web link like what Ali K's been doing here, but she doesn't open up that web link in my browser here or in the chat. Ali K doesn't open up the web link. She just gives a link and then you click on it and open it up. If you provide a specific URL or ask for information related to a website, I can certainly provide relevant information or generate a clickable link for you. So my next question was, what is the link for the Meri Atelier YouTube channel? It says, I apologize. I'm going, oh, you apologize. It says, but I'm unable to provide real-time information or specific links to current YouTube channels. As my training, see, you're getting that training. It's a tool. It's a chat bot. It's been trained to return certain types of information. It says, my training only goes until September 2021, and I don't have direct access to the internet. To find the Meri Atelier YouTube channel, I recommend using a search engine for visiting YouTube directly and searching for the Meri Atelier. So it's saying, go look for it on Google. Go Google it. This will help you find the most up-to-date and accurate information regarding their channel and any associated links. So then I said, well, what's the web link to Wikipedia? Because I like to go out to Wikipedia because most of the information that's on Wikipedia is public domain. The pictures, all the pictures that I've linked to, looked at on Wikipedia are public domain. I always check to make sure that it's in the public domain. So I like to use that website a lot. You have to kind of use it as a give and take because just like this chat box, it doesn't guarantee that it returns. People generally type the information and share it with Wikipedia the same way as the bot chat box would be trained here. So you may get inaccurate information on Wikipedia in the same way that it's possible from the chat box, and they do say that in the introductory page that it's possible that I could tell you something wrong. It says that before I come into here. So it says the web link for Wikipedia is, and it gives it, this link will take you to the main page of Wikipedia where you can search for and access information. Now, I'm not going to click on that, but if you would go to chatbot OpenAI, LAK dropped their link to it and sign up for it and ask for Wikipedia's link, or you could just go to your search engine and do it. But it gave me a clickable link. That was the point. So now, when I was out on the front porch researching, where's my journal? When I was out on the front porch researching, what did I do with my journal? Hold the phone. I need my front porch journal. Where did it go to? I had it out here. I must have covered it up somehow. Here, it's here. I got it. I just covered it up with my other journals that I was talking about here. Hold on. We don't want to craft a lunch here. When I was out on the front porch researching just a general topic like journaling, we're going to start out with journaling because that's what I did. And I did not get specific, but I found the information that it returned very interesting. So I'm going to write these down here the same way I did Here, podcast. This is my podcast notes when I research something, like when I research for my podcast now. And I generally do a basic research. I don't spend months and days and months researching. I just go out and get enough to get me interested. And I generally find enough to keep me busy. So I typed in podcast journals. And I started it out saying today's podcast is on the topic of something viewers of this channel are quite familiar with, journaling. And so I'm just going to write here journaling. And it's a very broad word, journaling is. So then I said, maybe I should do an AI on this, an AI topic. And then I went out to ChatGPT, and that's where we are here. What my first question that I ask, and we're going to ask it here, is what are the different types of journals? And that different types, you're going to see of journals. When we did our group list, we talked about the different types of art journaling. And you're going to see a whole different response here. Let's go ahead and type it in. And you won't be able to see it, but I'll read it off as I type it. What are the different types, and I'm pecking here, of journals? Okay, sometimes I have to type this in more than once, but then you hit the little arrow to send it. Okay, here it's coming back with answers. And it gives a little paragraph about each type. And let's just let it finish here. We're not at 8. It gives us 8 different types of journals. But what I found very interesting about this, that it's interpreted journals differently than my interpretation. And you'll see as we go through this. The first type, they say, are academic journals. Academic journals, but there are probably academic journals. These are scholarly publications, and hold on to that word publications, because I think most of their interpretation of journals were publications. Journals can refer to journals where you write or somebody writes, or arts, or that. We'll get into that. But here they're talking about magazines, publications, anything that's been published. And it said these are scholarly publications that focus on specific academic disciplines. They contain peer-reviewed research articles, so research articles, and are typically intended for researchers and professionals in a particular field. I found that very interesting. And by the way, I want to stop here and point out that copyright law, and we'll ask it that question, what next? Copyright law for anything that's AI returned to you is in the public domain. You cannot copyright a chat box session. First of all, it's not yours. It's information that they go out and gather from the internet. Now, I don't know if they're going to copyright it. I don't know if they could copyright their research here when you type in stuff, but it's you talking to them. It's like you're doing a Google search. Could you copyright a Google search? I don't know. That's very interesting. I would tend to say, no, you cannot copyright a Google search, but it may return copyrighted information to you that you may not be able to use. Right now, I just find it very interesting that copyright laws don't apply to artificial intelligence. So if I were to go out and generate an image using an image generator, an artificial intelligence image generator, and generate an image, I don't think you could copyright it. First of all, it's really not your art. It's generated by the computer. So you ask it to. So the first type of journal that they returned were academic journals. Scientific journals, which to me falls under academic, but maybe not, may not be associated with a study. Scientific journals. Scientific journals specialize in publishing research. See, they're talking about publications. Publishing research related to natural sciences such as biology, chemistry, physics, and more. They often include original research, methodologies, experimental findings. So, you know, think of you going into a science lab and doing an experiment. You may have a journal where you record all your studies there. That's interesting. That might be fun to do. Medical journals. So here again, this is way out of our realm of thinking about journaling, but it's interesting in the fact that I asked for journaling and it returned all these publication type journals. So medical journals. Medical journals are primarily cover research and advancement in the field of medicine. They publish, see, they're talking about publication, studies related to diseases, treatments, clinical trials, and medical breakthroughs. Business journals. Business journals focus on the topics related to business management, economics, and finance. They publish, yeah, there's that word publish. These are all publications. Publish research studies, case studies, and analysis of business trends. The fifth one is general interest journals. This one would probably interest me the most, the general interest ones. And these journals cater to a broad audience and cover a wide range of topics. They may include articles on current events, popular culture, opinion pieces, and general knowledge. And this one I find very interesting. Open access journals. Open access is a term related to public domain. Open access. In fact, if you go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, they call all their public domain images open access, which is different in their other collections that are copyrighted art. You won't find copyrighted art or art that's not in the public domain in the open access library. So open access journals make their content freely available to readers online. They aim to promote unrestricted access to scientific and scholarly research. And we might come back to that because I find that interesting. And the seventh one are trade journals. It's an interesting topic to research, journaling. Like Dee Dee Willingham says, write it down. Write it down. We journal, you and I journal for various reasons, but these journals here that are publications are sharing information. They're communicating with an audience their findings, whether it's academic, scientific, medical, they're putting it out there. And they did that even in days prior to the computer age. I'm thinking about Babbage, Charles Babbage, and his first computer, the analytical engine that he did. And they would create or they would do their research and start building that analytical engine, which is a precursor to the computer. But they would publish their information in different journals, and those would go out to people in their field that would read it and study it and either critique it for good or bad. And that's how the inventors will do that. I think mostly of the medical field now, but trade journals are industry-specific publications that provide information, news, and analysis for professionals in a particular trade of industry. They focus on practical information and trends related to that specific field. Now, I know that there are also legal journals, law journals. I don't know if that would fall under trade journals, but I don't see anything in here. It might be general interest, but I would put the legal field under the trade because it is a professional. It could come under academic, but academic is more research in a college or a school. This could be legal is the law, the government type things. Then the last one they have here are review journals. Oh, and that could probably fall under here too, review journals. And we're going to get to art journaling. This is just the first question that I asked it. And I found the information, while it's very general, I found it very interesting because when I typed in what are the different type of journals, I didn't expect to get a list of publications, the different types of publications that are considered journals. I did not expect that. I found it very interesting. Review journals publish comprehensive summaries and evaluations of existing research literature on a specific type. They provide a synthesis of the current knowledge and can be helpful for researchers and students seeking an overview of a particular subject. Law journals may fall under there too. And it says these are just a few examples, and there are many other types of journals available, each catering to different interests and disciplines. So it gave us 8 of what they're saying. There are many other types. I would like to see the many others, wouldn't you? We're not going, I could type in here, what are the many other types? Let's see what it says. What are the, let's see what it turns, many other types of journals you refer to. Let's see, it'll probably give me a very basic answer. It says, apologies, the confusion of my previous response. While there are numerous specific journals within various disciplines, here are a few additional types of journals. Oh, it gives us some more. It gives us 9 more. And I'm just going to read them off. I'm going to put additional here. I'm not going to list them all here because I feel like it's taking up time. I'll just number, and I'll come back and grab this later. Let's just read them off. They say there are engineering journals, environmental journals, psychology journals, educational journals, law journals. See, they got law journals down here. Literary journals, history journals, agricultural journals, social science generators. Please note that these are just a few examples, and there are numerous specialized journals within each academic field. Ooh, it makes me want to ask it some more questions here. Let's see, I'm going to go to another page here because I want this to follow page by page. So I'm going to say, what are some specific journals in the field of science? We're just going to pick a field. What are this? And you know, this could relate to art journaling. You could drill down enough. Let's see how far we can drill down into the field of science. Let's see what it responds. So my next question is, I said, what are some additional types? And they gave me 9, and science was one of them. And then it said, specific journals are available depending on the particular domain or subject you're interested in. So we're going to say, is that my third question? I got to keep track of myself here. What did I do? Keep track of me. Where's my other list? Yeah. So this is question 1. This is question 2. So this is kind of a fun way. You can do a bot session. And it's like me talking to a person out there. And it's different from doing a Google search. Yeah, because, well, a Google search could be similar, but it's different. It's different. That's all I can say. So I'm going to ask it, what are some specific journals? Let's see what it returns me. Specific journals. Well, it's, I don't know if I want to take art because art is so visual. I'm going to say in the field of science. Let's see what it returns. And speaking of art in science, think of all the scientific illustration out there. Not scientific, but I'm thinking of how, you know, nature, trees, human body, cells, all types of scientific illustration. In our world today, because of the advanced photography, there's a lot of photography, and they rely less on drawings and illustrations than they did before they had advanced photography. But there's still a lot of scientific illustration out there in the field of science. Let's see what it returns. I just find this very interesting. I wanted to share this with you because you may not want to go to this depth of researching art journaling, but in a way, it's a good way to get ideas. It's a good idea collector. It's a good tool. And who knows what it could lead you to? What idea can you pull from this? And if you get an idea from this, you know, just make a little side note and put a light bulb and say, oh, I could do an art project on this, and then document what it is. But let's ask it this question. So what, and can you see how my questions that I'm asking here are generated by the responses they gave me before? They said that there are more specific journals related to a specific field. So I'm going, well, tell me about them, you know? So it's like a conversation. It's a chat. It's like you're sitting down with a really smart person and having this conversation about journaling. And they know it all. Or they know a lot. Let's put it that way. They don't know it all, and they may make a mistake. I haven't seen a mistake yet, but I suppose that if you get scientific, you could ask for a formula and it could return maybe a bad formula or something like that. I don't know. But it has a caveat when you first go into the chat box. It says, be aware that not all information is accurate. So you kind of have to, it's just like when you're talking to me, you guys correct me a lot. I don't give you accurate information all the time because, well, I'm only human. And the OpenAI, the artificial intelligence says, well, I can only do so much. I'm only non-human. So I'm going to say, what are some specific, not scientific, what are some specific journals? I'm not going to say art journals. I'm just say journals in the field of science. And let's see what it returns here. I'm pecking, peck, 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 peck. And the keyboard's too tiny for me to do two-handed typing. All right, let's send that off and see what it returns. Oh, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. It looks like they limit the different responses to 10 or under, and then they say there's more out there. So let's just, I'm not going to write them all down. I'll come back and write them down later because I want to move on. It is 7:10. I want to keep track of my time. Let's just read them off here. The first one is Nature, a renowned multidisciplinary science journal covering a wide range of scientific topics, including biology, physics, chemistry, earth sciences, and more. So you could take each one of these and drill down. I'll just write the first one. We could say, what are some specific journals in nature-related specific journals? And the next one is Science, another prestigious multidisciplinary journal that publishes cutting-edge research. So they're giving you types here. They're not giving me specific. I haven't drilled down, even though I said, what are some specific journals? It hasn't led me to a specific nature journal. Maybe I'll ask it that next. Give me the name of a nature journal that's online and see if it returns me a link or a name or something. But let's go through our list of 10. The second one was Science, multidisciplinary, cutting-edge research across various scientific fields, and then it lists them. Cell, C-E-L-L, a leading journal in the molecular biology and genetics, focusing on, so this could be the name. This sounds like a name, Cell, a leading journal in the field of molecular biology and genetics, focusing on cellular and molecular life sciences. Here's a name one, the New England Journal of Medicine, a prominent medical journal that publishes original research. So Nature might be a name. The physical review letters. Ooh, that sounds interesting. I like the word letters. We might do a similar session maybe next week. I kind of like doing this on the topic of letters. Wouldn't that be fun? Because I researched letters when I was still up in Wisconsin, and oh my goodness, I returned link after link after link on the topic of letters. And you think that writing letters are, and I'm not talking about typography, I'm talking about communication while you write letters. All types of different letters and interesting letters out there. I think of one that we would be familiar with was the letters between John Adams and Abigail Adams. their letters back and forth to each other. Some of them were love letters, but a lot of them contained daily information and political information and, just general information about the culture in the colonial era. John Adams was the second president of the United States. So I might, let me see, let me put down, see here, let me put a light bulb here. This is a light bulb. And I'm put next podcast, do chatbot topic letters. And you can do that on your own if you want. I mean, I can't stop you, but this is a new pen. How come it's getting dry? I just broke this out tonight. Let's see if I got the other one here. All right, so this is my, this is what you would do when you get an idea, when you're doing research. Put a little note, write it down, or it'll go in one ear and out the other. It won't even stop in your brain. All right, so let's go to Physical Review Letters. Physics, it's a physics journal that features high impact research across different areas. We're not even into art journaling. The Journal of American Chemical Society, Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, the Astrophysical Journal, a leading journal for research in astrophysics and astronomy, a Journal of Geophysical Research, and the PLOS Biology. So there's 10 types there. I'm not going to take time to write them down. My next question is similar. What, and this might be a little bit of a challenge for our chat box. What are some specific, let's see what it returns, journals, and now it's thinking publications here. It's not thinking our writing journals or our art journals or things that we would do personally. In the field, and let's see what it returns, in the field of art. And we'll see what it returns. So let's type that in, see what it returns, because we need to draw this more into our field of interest. What are some specific journals in the field of art? And I have a feeling that it will return maybe museum journals, something that's been published. It won't here, I doubt. If it does return things like Leonardo da Vinci, I'll be very surprised. But let's see what it returns. Let's type it in. Let's see. Let's send it off. And let's see what it returns. Here are a few specific journals in the field of art. Oh, all right. Get ready for this. One, I'm going to write these down. Art Forum. Art, F-O-R-U-M. I've never heard of Art Forum before. But it's a contemporary art magazine. That's what I thought. It would return magazines and publications that cover various art forms, including visual arts, film, architecture, and design. It features critical reviews, interviews, and essays. But see, it's a magazine. So we could research that on Google it and see what kind of, maybe they have a blog out there or something. So I'm going to put research here. And I could get more specific. I could say, what are some journals in the field of visual arts? Because they return across the whole. Okay, let's see. Number 2 may be more. Art journal. Art journal, it says. Now, I think of art journaling by Somerset Studio. It's a publication of the College Art Association. I've never heard of them. Have you heard of College Art Association, CAA? Focusing on contemporary art and art history. It includes scholarly articles, artist portfolios and reviews. See, there's just so much to be learned. Now we're drilling down into stuff that really interests us. Let me stop for a minute and look at chat. Welcome folks in here. Hi, Kathy. Kathy Cole. She says, I'm lurking and knitting. Well, that's perfectly okay. You're keeping your hands busy. I wonder if there are any knitting journals that would probably return some knitting magazines. Cheryl is here. Mina. She says, in one brain lobe and out the other. We're talking about writing it down. If you don't write it down, it goes through one brain lobe and out the other brain lobe. And welcome, Mina. It's good to see you. Cheryl says, I understand, Mina. I watched a Foreigner live concert today, and that happened to me. Very first thing I always do, Kathy. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. And thank you, Kathy, for encouraging thumbs up. Mina says, I was watching a bear. She's talking about the bear, the animal, B-E-A-R, documentary today. I couldn't tear myself away. And Cheryl's welcoming Mina. This is where Mina came in. Kathy Cowell came in. Welcome, Kathy. And if I'm mispronouncing it, might be Cowell. Mina's here. Nashwa and Melody. Mina. She's saying hello. Oh, Auntie Loopy. Hi, Auntie Loopy, if you're out there. She says, hi, Mary. Auntie Loopy does a lot of crochet, and that's why she calls herself Auntie Loopy. I'm going to get a sip of water. We had roast beef for supper tonight and Mexican corn. Have you guys ever had Mexican corn? It's really good. They have peppers in it. We had roast beef and Mexican corn for supper tonight. Mary Lou is here. Melody, Dar, Cheshire Dar, Allie K had to leave. Lisa had to leave. Gotta go, Lisa says. Have a good evening, everybody. Teresa. Hi, Teresa. Out there, Teresa Church. If you're still out there, she said hello to everybody. Cheryl and Joyce and Dar, Allie K, Dar. I think I've caught everybody. Jacqueline. Lisa, Nashua was here earlier. Sherry Van was one of the first ones in here. And Jacqueline, lovely collecting. Mary Lou says, I finally caught you live. I'm crocheting. Yeah, I was working on my Afghan this afternoon. In fact, I've just about put my stream off another night. Mary Lou, do you find that? You go, I want to do another row. I want to finish this row. In fact, I had to make myself. I'm working on an Afghan. It's just a continuous granny square. It's a granny square, and it just grows out as you add more rows to it. And it's called the Snow Study Afghan by the Crochet Crowd. It's out there. It's a pattern out there. It has 3 basic stitches in the center, and then stitches rows 4 to 12 repeat over and over and over and over again until you get as wide as you want. Well, I think I'm going to turn my square at some point into a rectangle. And right now, it's probably about 2.5 feet, maybe 3 feet wide. It's growing. But Mary Lou, I tell you, I almost said, I'm going to crochet. I want to crochet tonight. I can't sit this down. I can't set it down. Oh, I lost my place in here. This is all my front porch journaling here. And you know, I need to sketch more out there. I do in my other front porch journals. Okay. So we're right there. I don't want to lose my place. Mary Lou says, I crocheted with Kim today, a crochet along. Which Kim? Kim who? Okay, so I think I'm caught up with chat. Let's go, and I've asked the chat box to tell me some specific journals in the field of art. Now, so far we're getting visual art, art history. I'm wondering, art history, is that the name of a journal? It just says art history, a journal that publishes research articles and critical discussions on art history and theory and criticism. So these, they're still giving you publications. And we're going to revisit that, but let's write these down. The Journal of Visual Arts, journal. And I imagine if you type in, I don't want to lose my place here, but if you type in the Journal of Visual Arts, I'll bet you find a lot of information out there that could inspire you to do something. You'll probably see something out there that you'll probably be doing little light bulbs on here, but I don't want to get too much down a rabbit hole. This is a peer-reviewed journal. So it's reviewed by peers, people in the field that explore and reflect on the various aspects of visual art practice, including artistic processes, methodologies, and critical perspectives. That might be an interesting one to look at, because I'll bet you could get some ideas, especially when they reflect on methodologies and processes. And then the next one is art education. And, oh, it did. Leonardo. There's Leonardo's. Leonardo. A journal that explores the intersection. Oh, this is not about Da Vinci, though. They just call it Leonardo. A journal that explores the intersection of art, science, and technology. It publishes articles, artworks, and projects related to contemporary art and cutting-edge technologies. So I'll bet you Leonardo has some articles out there. Oops, did I get out of it? Let's see if I can go back. Let's go to history. 18 pages. Oh, I got out of it. Yeah. It's going to ask me the same thing again. I think there were 10 of them. I'm not going to go through the rest of them. I'll ask it another question. Oops, something went wrong, it says. I'm going to have to sign back in. Choose an account. Yeah. Let me see if I can find my page here. Here. Unsplash. Stitch Dictionary. Something went wrong. Introducing chat. Okay, I think this is, they have 10 different specific journals. They listed 10. And I'm not going to go back and get the others because I lost my way and I want to move on. But this is where they're talking about ChatGPT. We're open at the OpenAI website on their first page here. It says it's a model to instruct GPT, which is trained to follow instructions in a prompt and provide a detailed response. So it gives some samples. Ooh, and it even gives the code. Ooh, wow, that's interesting. This code is not working. Oh, okay. All right. Limitations. Here, the limitations of OpenAI. I found this interesting. Sometimes ChatGPT sometimes writes plausible sounding but incorrect and nonsensical answers. So they're working on fixing that. It's sensitive to tweaks to the input phrasing or attempts the same prompt multiple times. For example, given one phrase of a question, the model can claim to not know the answer, but given a slightly rephrase, it can answer it correctly. So you can ask it a question and it might say, I can't answer that. But then if you say, well, can you answer this, and make it very similar to what you first asked it, it says, oh yeah, I can tell you about that. So there's a bunch of information about Chat GPT. View all the research. This is very interesting. Let's go. Can I go into it and ask it a question? Try it. All right. We lost all my other information there, but I can type it all back in, but I'm not going to right now. I want to move on. I want to move on to, let's number my pages. 1, 2. I want to ask it some more questions, get it more keyed down to us. So let me get another piece of paper here. I want this to be in book form. I'm going to put podcast here. Podcast. And today is May 5, 21. 23. I need to make sure that I number my page or date my pages. Sometimes I forget to date them. And when did I do that? Sometimes I can figure it out and sometimes I can't. So we've done 1, 2. This is page 3. All right. And here's where it's telling too. It says, remember what the user said earlier in the conversation. Allow users to provide follow-up corrections and train to decline inappropriate requests. So if you ask it something inappropriate, it will say, I'm not going there. Limitations, it may occasionally generate incorrect information. It may occasionally produce harmful instructions or biased content. And it has the limited knowledge of the world and events after 2021. So I'm glad that they put that there. All right, so let's send it another question that I asked when I was out on the porch. I said, what are the different types of journals? I said, what is the difference between a magazine and a journal? Because they gave some magazines out there. So we're doing journaling. So my next question, I think, is 4. What is the difference? Well, we know, but let's just see what it says. Between a magazine and a journal. Because it listed some magazines as journals. So let's type that in. What is the difference between a magazine and a journal? And it says, a magazine and a journal are both types of periodicals, but they have key differences. One is content. Content. Magazines primarily features articles that are informative, entertaining, and often focus on popular topics. Now we're talking about magazines. They tend to cover a wide range of subjects and appeal to a broad audience. Journals, on the other hand, are more scholarly in nature and contain original research articles, academic papers, and in-depth analysis. So journals are more topic driven, but also I would say more, I don't want to say more reliable, but they're more research in their academic, well, they say it, original research, academic, and in-depth analysis. Where magazines, you know, and I find in magazines you get a lot of advertising, which we kind of love in a way, because you go look at our old magazines in the 1800s and the early 1900s and our vintage magazines. We love those advertisements now. Maybe not so much. And I, you know, talking about advertising, I think 100 years from now, I think that there are going to be collectors of advertising, online advertising that we see today. You know, like somebody may collect an ad that shows out there, maybe that was generated. What is it? Dove does those ads that are really cool. They're really personable. Dove soap, especially around Mother's Day and Valentine's Day, kind of family generated ads. I'm just guessing that 100 years from now, there will be online collectors of advertising, of collectors of online advertising. I'm not going to, because you would have to have storage information for all of that. But that's just interesting. So the content is different. The audience is different. Magazines are typically aimed at general public or specific interest groups. They are designed to engage and entertain a wide readership. Journals, however, target a more specialized audience, such as researchers, scholars, and professionals in that discipline. They often have a more narrowed focus and assume a certain level of knowledge within the field. However, they did, when I asked it about different types of journals, they did return some magazines. So that's why I'm asking this question. Frequency. These are differences between a magazine and a journal. Magazines are generally published on a regular basis, such as weekly, monthly, or quarterly. They provide up-to-date information and feature timely content. Journals, on the other hand, are typically published less frequently and often on a quarterly, semi-annual, or annual basis. They prioritize quality research and thorough peer review processes, which can take longer. So journals, especially peer review, in order to get published in a scientific journal, you probably have to, your article's probably reviewed by several people in that field, whereas in a magazine, it can be reviewed by an editor, but maybe that editor is looking for more like grammatical errors or maybe fact check a little things, but not as much peer review. Structure. Magazines also have a visually appealing layout with images, ads, and shorter articles. They may include various sections like news, features, interviews, and opinion pieces. Journals tend to have a more standardized structure, including abstracts, methodologies, results, and references. So that's really interesting. That's a question I asked it because they returned both magazines and journals. Then I said, well, what about personal journals? And that's what I typed in there. What about personal journals? So let's ask it, what about, let's see what it says about personal journals that you and I would do. And I have an opinion on this, and I'll express it later. But let's type this question in here. What about personal journals? I want to know what it knows about personal journals. And I'm going to send that off. And it says, personal journals have been known as diaries or journals. Personal journals known as diaries. So it's saying they're known as diaries. So I don't think when I do a personal journal that I'm writing in a diary. Because in our culture, I think of a diary as being, and they do here, but a diary is more, I think of teeny boppers in a diary, but it's a give and take because you can do an interesting writing journal in a diary form, day by day, and say the weather was sunny today and we went to town shopping. I do that a lot. But personal journals are known as diaries or journals are quite different from magazines and academic journals. So you say we're getting into a different field here. Personal journals are private records. They're not published. So they're private versus published. And that's why I said, remember that word published. Now, here's where I differ a little because on YouTube, a lot of us do maybe not personal diaries on YouTube, but we certainly do journaling in a diary form, especially in our art journal. We may not, and I think about Barb Owen, but Barb Owen certainly doesn't sit there and read all of her entries. She may share some entries, like she was sharing one day when she learned to type, I think, or about typing. She was sharing, and I made a list of, I did an art journal page based off of Barb Owen's chat that day, and it's in one of my art journals. But it was very interesting because, she was going through information and little notes left by her mother, little note pages. And on that same session, she was sharing about when she learned to type, when she went to school. She shared about her father being into gardening and what else? Something else. But Barb Owen certainly does daily writing. I wouldn't really call it a diary because I don't know everything that she puts in there. But I tend to think that in today's culture, all of our journals, even though they're private journals, we are sharing them publicly. They are public, but they're not public domain. They're not open access. Like when I do my videos here and share my art, it's public. My art journal that I share here, just like my front porch journal here, I share a lot of the things that I'm doing in here, just like my podcast research and my desk journal, but it is public. And that's where I differ, because I think in today's world with YouTube, and I don't think ChatGPT has quite gone into the private part on YouTube channels, especially in our art field and art journaling specific. They say it's private. And to me, private is saying there's a lock and key on this and you can't read it. It's private. But when I share stuff like what I'm doing here and share my art journaling, it's public. It's not open access. It's not copyright free, but it is public. So I differ with the ChatGPT here in that I think sometimes, and they say, they say that not all their information is accurate. I wouldn't call this an inaccuracy. It's just a different point of view. To me, when I read this, private versus published, it's saying to me, I can't have an art journal that's public, or generally art journals are art journaling or personal journals are private. Generally, they are private, but with the advent of the internet and online, a lot of them are public. A lot of people share a lot of personal information, not personal personal information like I sat on the front porch today, not personal information, here's my name and address. although some people do slip up and do that. But I kind of question this. So I would probably tend to ask it another question. Are there any public personal art journals? And I think I asked something like that. But I kind of wanted to, I'm just kind of I'm going to put a question mark here. It's not really a question, it's a difference of an opinion here, but this flags to me that the word private, I'd like to find a different word for private. I'd like to find a word, it's personal, but it's public in today's world. Now, before the advent of the internet, in order to share a personal journal publicly, it would probably have to be a contribution to a library or a museum or some place where the general public could have access to that art journal. And talking about art journals in museums and libraries, there was I don't know if they're still going, there was a project here a couple years ago where you would create a little art journal and send it in to, you create it in a specific format, and they made a library out of art journals that people would send in. So in a sense, that was a personal journal that was contributed to a public access. Interesting. So here are some key characteristics of personal journals, and I'm just going to write key characteristics, and I'm going to come back and fill in the blanks. I don't want to I'll read them. There are 4 of them. I'm not going to list them here. I'll come back and fill in the blanks. So we're nailing down, we're coming down to more our level. We're not talking about scientific research or publications in a certain trade or something. We're coming down to what we do. Our level is our list out here of wherever I put it, the types of art journaling that we do. You know, zines and doodle art journals and junk journals and drawing and sketching. These are all types of personal art journals, not journals. There are also writing journals. I'm going to put down writing here, 36 writing. I think of Barb Owen specifically. She does a lot of writing in her journals. Wouldn't you just love to read them? And she read, no, that's private. All right. The characteristics of personal art journals. Intimacy. Personal journals are highly personal and private. They serve as a personal space for individuals to express their thoughts, feelings, and experiences without the expectation of being read by others. They are often used as a means of self-reflection and self-expression. And I think of that technique that we have in our art journaling, where we'll scribble our negative thoughts and then we'll paint over them. That's highly personal, highly, we might be mad at somebody or angry at some situation. Maybe it's a world event that happened, like, why did that have to happen to those poor people? That type of thing. And you can just scribble all that and get it all out on the paper. And here's another example, a very well-known writing technique by, right now the name of the lady's, it's not on the tip of my tongue, but she does the morning pages, where you'll sit there and you'll just do a brain dump in the morning of 3 or 4 pages of writing. Authors will do this, people that like to write, and they'll just get it all out on the page, and they don't think about it. They're just dumping all their thoughts out on the page. So it's very personal. However, I still think in our culture, a lot of this is online. Informally, unlike magazines and informality, unlike academic journals, personal journals do not follow any specific structure or format. They can be written free-form style, allowing the individual to write in their own voice. Now they're talking about written journals here versus visual, but still you can have free form art. You know, you can do art the way you want to do art. They can allow the individual to write in their own voice and express themselves without any formal guidelines. No editing. That's why I like YouTube. I don't have an editor other than you guys to thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl dropped a link to Kim's channel. Auntie Loopy was crocheting with Kim Poten. Kim Poten. Can't remember the channel name. And Cheryl dropped a link to that. I'll go look at that. I'll go look at that, Mary Lou. I'm interested, Cheryl. Thank you for dropping that. Hi, Lori. Lori, I'm sharing my research in a podcast, my research about journaling. And I'm finding it very interesting. To tell you the truth, when I art journal, I don't think about all of this. But when you stop and research, and I'm sharing my chat GPT session with you all, and we're asking it questions about journaling. Right now, we've covered it pretty overview here of journaling and the different types of journals and publications. And then I asked it for some specific journals in the field of art, and I got to number 6, which I found very interesting, and then I lost my page, so I got to go back and fill in the others. And now I'm asking it about personal journals, and they're telling me 4 different characteristics of personal journals. The first one is intimacy. It's very private. Informal. It's very informal. The third one is subjective. It's very subjective. What you put in your personal journal is from you. It's your viewpoint. It's how you see the world. And how you see the world you may pull that off of something objective, but still it's coming from you, your experience. Let's see. Experiences, perceptions, and emotions of the individual. They may cover a wide range of topics such as daily events, personal reflections, dreams, aspirations, challenges, and personal growth. Now, just from that statement, daily events, personal reflections, dreams, aspirations, challenges, and personal growth. I have another one to add here. Did I do prompt journal in here? I don't think I did prompt. I want to do prompt journals because we do a lot of art games. Prompt journal. We have prompt journals. Okay. And then the last one is the audience. So personal journals are primarily written for the individual who maintains them. They serve as a form of, now I don't like the word self-therapy. I think that's coming from the viewpoint that you have to go through a therapeutic session with yourself. I don't like that word. I don't journal for self-therapy. You can, but I journal for self-expression. I like to express myself. I like to get it out there, and it helps me work out whatever's in my head. Just as in doing this podcast, it helps me research. It helps me understand. It gets it from my head, from the research that I'm doing here in my head down on the paper, and then I can go back and review it. I don't like that word self-therapy. I do like the word self-discovery, or a record of a personal history. Now, self-discovery, I like that because I think about in art, I like to go back and critique my art, and self-discovery for me may be finding my own style, not my style in the sense that it's unique only to me, but my style of art is really illustrative. I keep saying my drawings are illustrations. They're not paintings. They're not meant to be final works of art. They're not photorealistic. They're very illustrative. Well, illustrative is a wide range of art. It's not just unique to me, but my style is very much illustrative versus somebody else whose style may be very graphic, very clean, very precise. That's not my style. I could probably, if I labored over it enough and went slow enough, do something very precise. But generally, you guys know me in math. I'm off somewhere all the time. I'll spill ink. I'll smudge something. I've got a very distressed style, but my drawing is generally very illustrative. So self-discovery, I think I've discovered myself through all my years of art journaling, that I've discovered that self-discovery about myself. While some people may choose to share excerpts from their personal journals with trusted individuals or use them as inspiration for creative works, their primary purpose is introspection. And I kind of, I don't art journal for introspection specific. I may be introspective on some of my things, but that's not my personal primary purpose of art journaling or even writing. When I do my writing, sometimes I write just so I don't forget. It's not really introspection. I'm not really analyzing myself. Overall, personal journals are private records that allow individuals to explore their thoughts, emotions, and experiences. They differ significantly from magazines, and I will say that I will agree with that. Generally, our journals that we write are not, I'm going to add another one. I keep popping into my head here. Writings, I'm going to put Bible art journaling as 37. Bible art journaling. See how my mind works? I'll be talking about something and another category will pop into my head. I got to write it down before I forget it. So I'll come back and fill in the blanks. I want to move on here to question 6. These are things I asked when I was doing my research on journals with the chat. Okay. So that's what that question was. Let's go out here to my next question. Are there public personal journals? So I asked ChatGPT, are there public personal journals? Personal journals that are out there for public to consume. Personal journals. And I'm talking about art journals, any type of journals. So let's type that in. Are there public personal journals? And let's see what it says. Yes, there are instances where personal, and it's given some examples here. It's given 4 examples. And here again, I will not take the time to write it down. I'll come back and fill in the blanks. But let's read what it says. It says, yes, there are instances where personal journals are made public. While personal journals are typically intended for private use, some individuals choose to share their journals publicly through various mediums. So this is where I was getting into, it's not always private. This can be done for various reasons, such as blogging, talking about blogs out there. Many individuals create personal blogs, and that's usually on a blog site like, what is it, Word, or what is it, Typepad or something like that out there, or Blogger, which is Google's, I think. I used to have a blog at the Meri Wanderer. I took it down, which was a mistake because somebody grabbed it. I shouldn't have taken it down. Memoirs and autobiographies. Some individuals may choose to publish their personal journals as memoirs or autobiographies. In these cases, journals are edited, refined, and presented in a more structured and coherent manner to create a narrative that can resonate with readers. I think of two type of published, and I really wouldn't call them journals. They're more, one is more genealogy in nature, genealogical in nature. I bought this book from Keisha's Creations, and it's fascinating because it gives letters and family trees and all sorts of information about this family. And then the other one is, I think it's called Farm Boy, and it is very well done book. It's not really a journal; it's a book, but it covers the life span of this young man who grew up on a farm, I believe in Iowa. And it talks all about the family, and it shows pictures of grandmas and grandpas and, you know, who he eventually married and his kids and the whole thing. So it's kind of a memoir in a sense, but it's more of a book that's been edited. Then it says there are online communities and forums. Now we're getting into YouTube and what we're familiar with. There are online communities and forums where people share their personal experiences and reflections. These platforms can provide a space for individuals to express themselves and connect with others who have similar experiences. And you think of Facebook, all of our Facebook groups, all of our Instagram pages where we share photos and artwork that we've done, and I wouldn't really call that a journal, Instagram, but in a sense, it is a journal because it's a compilation of photographs of, well, mostly art, but there are other things that people share in there too. So in a sense, it's kind of like a journal. Social media. With the popularity of social media platforms, some individuals may choose to share excerpts or snapshots from their personal journals, such as posts or stories. This allows them to share glimpses of their personal thoughts and experience with their social media connections. So, there are those. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to list them here because I think it's very time consuming. I want to move on. And let's see, how many more questions do I have here? Well, I have a few more. I'm going to do one more page, and then we'll start using the back pages. I said, name some. So I'm going to say, name some. This is page 5. So name some personal journals that are public. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. This is 5, 6, 7. And this starts with 8. And this is all me talking to the chat box. I found this a very interesting session. Next week, I think we're going to do the same thing on the topic of letters. I think that will be name some personal journals that are public. And I think it gave a few. And I found that interesting. So let's type that in. Name. And this is a podcast, by the way. I'm not really doing art. I'm mostly chatting like I would in a podcast. But it's going to be fairly long. It's going to be a couple hours. And I don't know if it'll let me put this in my podcast playlist, but we'll see. If it doesn't, I'll put it into a podcast playlist that's not an official YouTube podcast playlist. Name some personal journals that are public. Name some personal journals. And I always think of Leonardo da Vinci that are public. And go. Whoops. the backspace. All right, so it comes back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. And here again, I'm not going to write them down. I'm just going to put the numbers and go back in and fill in the blanks. I'm going to read them off here fast. The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. Very well-known personal journal by Anne Frank, who was in Germany during World War II. I don't think she was Jewish, but they helped Jews. They hid Jews from the Nazis, and they got caught and sent to the gulags, you know. And she had a diary. She hid it. I think she kept it until they were captured and she hid it. I don't know the story of how she got it back, if it was found. I don't know that whole story. I have to go back and research it. But the Diary of Anne Frank. And this is what I found interesting. The journals of Sylvia Plath. Sylvia Plath. She was an American poet and writer. I'd never heard of her. So this would be a point in my personal research where I would go Google her and learn about her and maybe even draw a picture of her. She kept detailed journals throughout her life. After her death, her journals were edited and published, offering insights into her personal life, creative process, and struggles. Another person that I think of is Beatrice Potter. I don't know. I'm going to ask if Beatrice Potter kept personal journals. I would think she did, but whether they're published or not, I don't know. We'll ask chat box. The other one was A Writer's Diary by Virginia Woolf. Now we're talking about not just art journals, journals in general, personal journals. So, and I want to research her too. This collection of selected diary entries by Virginia Woolf showcases her thoughts, observations, and reflections as a writer and intellectual. It offers a glimpse into her creative process and her personal life. Now, I like that phrase, a glimpse into her creative process. I'm going to write that down, that phrase. That just catches my attention. A glimpse into creative process. Because I think a lot of us, when we go online, when we watch YouTube artists, we get a glimpse into how they create their art as they're creating their art in front of us. I think of me, sometimes when I draw, I hate what I do. And I might paint out the face, especially when I'm doing little faces, tiny faces. They all look like cartoon characters to me. And sometimes I'll just paint it out and either do one separately and glue over it, or I'll paint it out and draw over it. Tiny faces are a challenge to me, but your creative process, how you approach something, how you start with a blank page, or maybe you don't start with a blank page. Maybe a lot of you, when we do journaling by fives, will put color on every page to get us. That's a creative process. So when we're watching these journals, and by the way, journaling by fives goes on here. See, I go down these rabbit trails. Where's my group list? Let's put journaling by fives on here. 38. Journal by fives. That's a Shannon Green things. We love it. Speaking of Shannon Green, getting a glimpse into her creative process. If you want to get a glimpse into a creative process, just go watch some Shannon Green videos. You'll be there forever. And then the last one they listed was the Diary of Samuel Pepys, P-E-P-Y-S. Probably mispronouncing it. He was an English naval administrator and member of the Parliament in the 17th century, which would have been the 1600s. His diary, spanning from 1660 to 1669, provides a vivid account of daily life in London during that period, including his personal experiences, events, historical significance, and societal observations. How interesting is that? So, I'm going to come back to those, the list 4. But my next question was, name some. Are there any public personal records? So I got those. Okay, now this is interesting. I got a different response here when I asked this question. Not this question. Name some. What are some, let's see. What are some personal journals? What about personal journals? Are there public personal journals? So that's what I ask here. Are there public personal journals? Those I got pretty much the same. But then I said, name some. Name some public personal journals. Maybe I haven't asked that question yet. No, I got name some personal journals that are public. I phrased it differently. Here I said, name some personal journals that are public. And here I said, are there public personal journals? And then I said, name some. And I got a whole different response here. Postscript, diary project, live journal, the mighty. Let's see what happens if I just say name some. What did I say this? Name some personal journals that are public. And here I just said name some. And I got a whole different response here. That's interesting. I don't know if I can, what I need to put in, because I just said name some here. I said, are there public personal journals? I got those for response, and then I said name some. And here I just said name some. I expanded it here, and it gave me a different response. Very interesting. So I said, do any famous people have public personal journals? So let's put that down there. I got to find my way again here. So we're ready for question 10, 11. Do any famous people, and I hope that you guys are finding this interesting. You could take a more detailed topic about like oil painting and do a chat box session with oil painting or collage. You can just take just about any topic and delve into it. Be surprised what you will learn. Do any famous people have public personal journals? So I'm asking for specific people here. And they did name a few over here, but let's see what they say here. Oh, now here's where they get into the same. See, here's where they list Anne Frank, but they also listed Frida and Kurt Cobain and Sylvia. This one named Sylvia over here, and Virginia Woolf. So these were similar. Anne Frank, Sylvia, and Virginia Woolf up here. But I'm asking this in a different way. Do any famous people have public personal journals? I don't want to see what I get now. Do any famous people have public personal journals? And I know some. Yeah, it's interesting they didn't mention Leonardo da Vinci or in that list. Public journals, which is very well known in the art field. And let's send that and see what it says. Yes, several famous people had their... Now, see here they added Leonardo da Vinci. When I asked the same question this afternoon, it did not list Leonardo da Vinci. Let's see. They list... Oh, and there's a whole different list here. There's 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They list Leonardo da Vinci. I asked the same question this afternoon, and it gave me the same question that I asked here, name some personal journals that are public. But here I said, do any famous people have public personal journals? And that's what I asked. Do any famous people have public personal journals? And they came back with Anne Frank and Frida and Kurt Koberek, Sylvia Plath, and Virginia Woolf, which was the same that I got up here. So let's see what they say here. A whole different list. Leonardo. I'm going to write these down because I find it interesting. So sometimes if you're doing research, if you ask the same thing in a different way, it gives you different answers, and it may lead you down to another interesting path. It gives Frida. So it gave me that this afternoon. Frida Kahlo, which I generally am not inspired by her. She puts mustaches on her face. She does other art too. But Rosemary Morris has done a lot of Frida art. There's Frida people who do fan art of Frida. But I might be interested in her journals. So I'm just going to put research here. I might go out and see it. Now, I don't think that they can lead me to her journals from here, but they can give me a reference to them. But Frida's personal journals might be interesting. And the other one is, that lady that did all of those flowers from Wisconsin. It's not on the tip of my tongue right now. Okay, Frida, Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol kept a journal that's public. He might be interesting to get a hold of some of his journals. The other one, not mentioned here, but I know, and I'm going to add it, I'm going to put mine, is Pablo Picasso. Kept personal journals. And I know that because I read some online when I was researching Pablo Picasso. He said, everybody that he's associated with dies. They all die. Don't become my friend or you'll die. Okay, and this would be interesting to research too. Andy Warhol's personal journal. And this is a French-American writer. Anisnin. Is a French-American writer, is known for her extensive personal journals that span several decades. Her journals, published as The Diary of Anisnin, N-I-N, A-N-I-S, Aeneas, and French, explore her complex personal life, relationships, and artistic development. And then Marie Curie, she kept a diary. Her personal correspondence and notebooks. See, that's really how, when you keep a personal journal, and especially for famous, but even if you're not famous, let's say you're not famous, let's say it's you and me, and we keep a personal journal. Well, our legacy, our ancestry, there may be people in our future who I lost my chat here, who want to know about us. I would have loved to have read a personal journal of my family as they came over from England. I would have loved to read that, but there's, they probably didn't keep it. If they kept it, it certainly didn't come my way. But that it's a way to connect with people in your future, especially genealogy. And I think that we can share so much without sharing. Well, you can share your personal life. You don't have to share things that, all your sins. We all have daily sins. You don't have to share all the negative stuff. You can share some negative stuff and maybe how you handled it. But wouldn't you have loved to have read a personal journal of your great-great-great-grandparents? Wouldn't that be fascinating? Yeah. So, but here we're talking about famous people. So I got a couple of new ones in this list that I didn't get this afternoon. I got Anne Frank, who this afternoon, she's not on this list. Same question, different list. But there are a couple of, I didn't get Leonardo. I got Frida. I did not get Andy Warhol. I did not get this French lady. I did not get Marie. And this is just one for me. Let's ask it some more questions. What are some famous art journals? So now we're going to nail down into different types of art journaling. And here again, it's going to give me a list. And I'm not going to write all of these down. I'll come back. I should write them down, but I don't want to take the time here. I'll come back. What are some, and I say famous art journals here. Let's ask it the same question. Famous is kind of famous art journals. Now, this afternoon, when I asked it that question, it gave me a list like Art Forum, Art Journal, Art in America, which is kind of a magazine, I think. Frieze, F-R-I-E-Z-E, is a magazine. Art Review, Flash Art. So they're giving magazines here too. Art Monthly, Culture, I think the last one is. I don't know what that last one is. I scribbled it. And I say these seem to be publications. So, and I was thinking that I would get art journals by Leonardo da Vinci or something like that. But let's see what they give us tonight. What? I would think that these type of things, if I would have said, what are some types of art journals? I said, what are some famous art journals? What are some famous, I should say well-known, but I'm going to use the same word, famous art journals. So type it in, and it returns it said there are several famous art journals. And it's given me some different ones. It's given me some similar ones. It only gave me 5 here tonight. It gave me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It gave me twice as many answers this afternoon when I asked it exactly the same question. Tonight I only got 5. So you might want to type this question in different times of the day. I don't know if that makes a difference. Studio International. It did not give me that one, but it did tonight. It's founded in 1893, is an influential art journal that covers a wide range of art forms and movements. Critical essays, interviews, reviews, and profiles. It's more of a publication than I guess if you consider a journal a publication. Art Forum. Now, it did give me that one. Art Forum. Established in 1962 as a prominent international art magazine known for its in-depth criticism. October, it gave me October. Tate Papers. It did not give me, I'm going to list the two that are different. Tate Papers. And what was the other one? Studio International. So these are ones that are different from what I got this afternoon. Same question, different time of the day. But you have to understand, this is Chat GPT that we're asking these questions to. It's going out there and gathering information, and it's probably just, you know, it doesn't say, did I tell her different list earlier today? So it would be interesting if you could categorize. I don't know if, and maybe when they get to developing that, if you wanted to use this Chat GPT as a research tool, like what I'm doing here, I'm just exploring because I find this very, to be able to maybe outline the information and put it in your own separate, maybe download it into your own research. You can't do that right now. I'm just writing it down on paper as fast as I can. Let's see, the last one they gave was Art Journal. So these three they gave me this afternoon, but they also gave me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 others. These two they gave me tonight, but didn't give me this afternoon. Now, if I ask the same question tomorrow, will I get different ones? Very interesting. All right, let's go to the next question. I said, who are some famous art journalers? All right, so let's ask it that. I'm going to go now here to, we're going to number these pages. This is page 5. Oh, I should have wrote these. I wrote on the front of all of these. So I'm going to skip all of these pages here because I didn't write on the, that's just an, now I'm going to go to this side of the page because I don't write on the back here because it interrupts what I wrote over here. So we're going to go to this side of the paper here. Oops, I got out of it again. Well, let me come back in. At least I got out of it at a question. Let's see if I can get back in or if I have to. Yeah, see, it gives me an error. Let me go back to the sign in. Can I get into it here? No. Let's just open it all up again. Let's get rid of this one. Let's get rid of this one and this one. Can I come into there? Okay, I think I'm in. Try Chat GPT. Okay, send a message. So my next question was, what are some famous art journal? No, I may ask it that. What are some famous art journalers? Oh, I asked them some famous art journals up here, and here I'm asking for some famous art journalers. And I got a whole different list here. Let's ask it the same question. What are, instead of who, I'm saying what. Oh, who. Let's say who. Who are some famous art journalers? And I wish it could access YouTube, because I would love to say on YouTube, who are some art journalers on YouTube? But they've already said that they can't get into YouTube channels. I don't know if they can. I don't know. We might ask that a different way, but let's go on. Who are some famous art journalers? Let's send it there. This is question number 13. I know this seems like a lot of chatter to you, but this is a podcast. And it's very verbal. I'm not out here doing art or... I'm showing you how I might research a topic on using Chat GPT, which is new to me. See, I think this is question 13. Who are some famous art journalers? Let's see who it lists. Who are some famous art journalers? And here again, I would think of Leonardo. He's the first one. Oh, but look who it has on here. Dina Wakley, Jane Davenport. So now we're getting into Julie Faye Van Balzer. I didn't get these this afternoon. It listed 10 of them. So I asked this question this afternoon, and let me share with you. Let me share with you who it gave me back. I said, who are some famous art journalers? And then I said, interesting, it refers to art journaling as a personal experience. It gave me Leonardo da Vinci, Frida, C.Y. Trombley, Tracy, I can't read my writing, Tracy somebody, Anne Truitt, Jean Michael, somebody. It gave me Tisha Moore, Dan Eldon, Tracy Batista, and Dina Wakley. Okay, here it's given me, and I'm not going to list them here again because I'm just going to put that I got 10 back. I'll come back in and fill in the blanks. I may be at a different list. Sabrina Ward Harrison is known for her expressive mixed media art journaling and introspective writing. Tisha Moore, we all know Tisha Moore, recognized for her vibrant and intricate art journal pages featuring collages, doodles, and hand lettering. Dawn DeVries Sokol, S-O-K-O-L, I've never heard of her. So this is interesting. Tamara Laporte, which is Willowing Arts. She's listed as being famous. I didn't get that this afternoon. Janine Zlatkis is celebrated for her nature-inspired art journaling. Julie Faye Van Balzer is one of my favorite people, known for her bold and abstract art journaling. Katrina Koukiotis, I can't pronounce it, recognized for her fantasy and portrait-focused art. Dina Wakley and Jane Davenport. And then another one that's not familiar to me, Orly Averini, A-V-I-N-E-R-I. So if I were doing this by myself, I would probably list them all and then put arrows by the ones that I wanted to learn more about. Some of these. Well, not here, but I might pick out one like Sabrina Ward Harrison is known for her expressive mixed media art journaling and introspective writing. I might go research her. I might do a Google search on her, and she probably has a page out there that I could go look at some of her art. So it gave me a different list tonight. I find that very interesting. And then my next question was, I got ideas for art journaling. I think that's under Jean Michael. Gave me a different list tonight. My next question was ideas for art journaling. I said, what are some ideas for art journaling? So now we're getting into something that you and I might just typically say, I want to do an art journal. What are some things I can do? So what are some ideas? Of course, you can ask Dee Dee. Just ask Dee Dee, she'll tell you. But this is fun to ask Chat GPT ideas for art journaling. And let's see what it tells us versus what it told us this afternoon. I find it interesting that it gives me different lists. So what are some ideas for art journaling? All right, we'll send that off. Come on. Got to select all here. Oh, maybe because I got a bad word there. D-O-M-E instead of some. Here it goes. What are some ideas for art journaling? It's thinking about it. I'm not buffering them. Oh, here we go. Here are some ideas for art journaling. Collage. Let's see what it gave me this afternoon in my magazine art journal here. My front page art journal, I mean. All right, it gave me collage, so that was similar. It's still listing them there. So far, we're on number 6. Let me look at chat while it's doing that. Let me refresh my chat and see who's out there. Ali K's here. She dropped a link again to the OpenAI Chat GPT link. Mary, see above, Cheryl says. Women's Diaries of the Westward Journal. Ooh, that's interesting. Sylvia. Hi, Sylvia. I don't know when you came in. Oh, wait. Nominated 3 times, Jerry. Sylvia says, Tyler Green, Jerry SALTZ, was a Pulitzer Prize winner. Nominated 3 times, Jerry was, SALTZ. Women's Diary of the Westward Journey. Mina says, I think Vincent van Gogh kept an art journal with some sketches. I think you're right. Vincent van Gogh would write letters to his brother, too. And he would put sketches in his letters, which is very interesting. Sylvia says, Leonardo da Vinci sketchbooks. Janet Lowry. So Sylvia is giving us lists of them. I'll go back after chat and add these in. I don't want to write them all down now, but those are very good suggestions, Sylvia, if you're still out there. Leonardo da Vinci, Janice Lowry, Lowry, Keith Herrings. Oh, I'm cheating. I'm standing in front of my bookcase. Oh, Sylvia, standing in front of her bookcase. Cheryl said, Carol Burnett wrote a book about her life, I think. Yeah. Well, those are more autobiographies and memoirs, which can be journaling. Memoirs are very much journaling. You think of the presidents. Presidents will leave memoirs. I'm thinking specifically of John Adams and Abigail. Well, I'm thinking of their letters, and I think Ulysses S. Grant wrote a memoir about his experience he was a general for the Union during the Civil War. He was also a president, but he wrote memoirs. Georgia O'Keeffe, yes, thank you, Allie Kay, was the flower artist. Georgia O'Keeffe, that name just went right over my head tonight because I'm into everything else. Thank you, Allie K, for typing that, reminding me. Sylvia says, journals made public after the person is deceased. Victor Hugo, Sheever, wanted his journals published after his death. Ooh, that's interesting. Let me write that down here. I'm going to write it down in here because I want to keep this in order. So journals. Sylvia, I'm going to go back and make notes of all your comments, but you're leaving some very interesting information. Journals published after death. And thanks for popping in, Sylvia. I find this a very interesting. I just get into this. This is a podcast, so I'm doing a lot of chattering. I'm not making art tonight. We're just kind of researching journaling, which is the topic of our channel. We do art journaling here, so we might as well research it, huh? And this is kind of one of my initial experiences with OpenAI. I'm kind of touching on artificial intelligence. I talked about it when I first came on. I don't want to go back into that, but except for to say, I think that artificial intelligence is very useful as a tool in the same way that our web-based search engines are, like Google. It's a tool that we can use. And I find it interesting because I do feel like I may be sitting down having a conversation with a person that I don't get that same feeling when I do Google research. We're talking to a chat box. We ask it a question and it goes out and pulls information and compiles it and returns it to us. But there's a caveat with it. It says, double check everything. There may be some incorrect information. Victor Hugo, Sylvia says. Cheryl says, I like what Barb Owen does. If she does not like it, she paints over it with black paint and creates over it. Yeah, she will do that. Now, generally, I think Dee Dee would, but generally, I don't see Dee Dee doing a lot of painting out. She does what she wants and accepts it, and moves on. I may have missed it because I don't watch all of her streams. I just don't have the time. But I will paint out a lot too, or I'll start all over again. I'll keep my mistake and put it in my art journal and start all over again. I just recently started all over with a sketch. Can't remember what it was, but I liked it a lot better the second time. Sylvia says, stop me or I'll go on. No, we're not going to stop you. I'm going to go back and go through chat and pick up all these names that you're given because, man, you must have some library, Sylvia. Dustin Illingworth, Whittle Gombrotitz. Oh, there's Janice. Janice, are you still out there? Janice Glines popped in and I missed her. I wonder if she's still out there. Janice said, Sylvia Plath was her favorite. She said she committed suicide. She suffered from depression her whole life. Oh, I didn't know that, Janice. It'd be interesting to go out and research her. And welcome, Janice, for popping in. I don't know if she's still here. Anne Frank was Jewish. I didn't know that she was Jewish. She was German, and her German family hid Jews. I think her father was a doctor, the way I understood it. I don't know if she specifically, I don't know if they were Jewish. Let's ask ChatGPT. Was Anne Frank? See, I could be giving you wrong information. Jewish. Let's ask ChatGPT. Was Anne Frank Jewish? Oh, it says yes, she was Jewish. So she was Jewish. See? She was a German-born Jewish girl who gained international recognition. I didn't know that she was Jewish. I thought that her father was just a doctor and her family hid Jews. See, I'm learning. That's what this is all about. Learning. I don't mind being wrong. I don't mind being wrong. And I don't mind being corrected when I'm wrong, as long as you do it nicely. And you guys generally correct me a lot, and you do it nicely. So there we go. Sylvia Plath. I'm going to have to go look at her. And here's Sylvia again with Frida and Flannery O'Connor and John Cheever, Cheever, Susan Sontag. See, I don't know any of these. WordPress. Yeah, the blogger. We're talking about the blogs. I mentioned those blogs in one of my other questions. WordPress and blogger. Sylvia says, many writers have kept journals and many are published. Sylvia, thank you for all those contributions. Oh, Sylvia says she's grateful that she comes from a family of writers, so that's why she's so knowledgeable. My mother wrote and my children write. I fear not others reading my journals, as we are open books to each other. I love that statement. I love that, Sylvia, because I think if you can open yourself up to share with unknown people out there, I think it's useful information, and even share your points of view. Maybe you can share them, especially political and religious points of view, in a journal without getting into arguments with people, like if you were sharing one-on-one with somebody or in an online forum. You can put that stuff of what you really think about what's going on in your culture, maybe issues that are very highly controversial. You can share your point of view in your journal without creating a fight, an online fight where, you say don't discuss sex, politics, religion, and now we're adding gender to it. Because generally those are controversial topics that we all have our opinions on, and we're all welcome to our different points of view. But if you put that down on paper, somebody in the future may say, oh, this is what she really thought. I thought that she was, I thought she was more conservative than that, or I thought she was more liberal than that. And if you put it down, like I have a lot of probably controversial viewpoints on education, and especially when I was younger. Right now, my viewpoints on education are, I'm over it all. But when I was in the field of education, I had a lot of controversial points of education that if you journal about them, you leave that legacy for somebody else to learn about what you really thought. Now that somebody else in the future may be somebody in your family. I often wish that I could communicate more and had more one-on-one time with my grandniece, but she's all involved in school. And not only that, her mom and her dad and all of her activities, and she's got 4 living grandparents now, and she had her grandmother and her great grandmother and her great grandfather. They've all passed away, but they were a part of her life back then. And her uncle and her uncle's family, she's got family all around her that I can't get close to her and do that one-on-one session with her. She just doesn't have the time. And, but if I journal, and of course I scribble a lot, but if I would journal some of who I really am, and if she would ever in the future pick up that journal and read it, she would say, oh, I didn't know that about Aunt Meridel. This is what she calls me Aunt Meri, great Aunt Meri to her. This is what she really thought. She lived with my grandpa. She mowed the lawn for him. So let's go back and let's see who else. missing. This is where Mary Lou came in. Oh, Sharon Lombard. Sharon Lombard, if you're still out there, I'm going back. Sharon popped in. She says, hi, Mary and everyone. Mina came back in. Let's see. Mary Lou said, oh, Julie Cameron was the morning pages. Thank you, Sylvia. Sylvia, you're just, man, you really got that all on the tip of your tongue. I've got to go back and write down all these names that you're dropping here. And this is where Mary Lou came in, and she said she was crocheting with Kim Poten. And Cheryl dropped a link. Now I'm going to go down to the bottom here. Mary Lou's still here. She says, I need to get going, everybody. Good night, Mary Lou. Thanks for popping in. Cheryl says, my YouTube is stalling as usual. Okay, Cheryl, we understand. And Sharon says, I'm still here. Good to see you, Sharon. I still have a Santa Claus to send to you, but I might add some other things. You'll probably get this around Christmas from last Christmas. Good night, Mary Lou. Have a great week. Cheryl says, I downloaded Chat AI. I will see. Oh, I didn't download. All you have to do is sign in. All you have to do is sign in. Unless you went out and got Chat AI from your Google Play or your whatever you have if you're on Apple. Sylvia says, I love research. I love reading, writing, and arting. It's fun. Well, Sylvia, you're just a joy to have in here. Mary Lou said this is interesting. I find this very interesting. Allie Kay dropped a link to Chat GPT. And this is where okay, I caught up with all of that. So I'm up with you. For people that are listening on the replay, or for people that are new like Sylvia, when I do my streams, especially my live streams, I will do whatever I'm doing. Like right now, I'm doing research with ChatGPT. But if I'm arting, I'll go into a segment where I'm arting and I'm not watching chat. You guys are out there chatting away. You may be asking me questions, but I don't see it. But at some point, I'll break. And then I'll come out and just go back and read back and review the chat. And I try to catch questions. Like Cheryl said, Mary, see above. I try to catch all that stuff. But that's generally my format. I'm not that talented that I can chat and art or chat and write at the same time. So you may ask me a question or say something to me, and I may not see it for half an hour when I stop and come back. So if you're watching the replay or if you're new in here, just to let you know how I work. So I was asking for some ideas. I think it gave me an answer for ideas for art journaling, and it gave me a list of 10 of them. And I'm just going to write down the ones that are different. It listed 10. And I asked that same question this afternoon, ideas for art journaling, and I didn't number these, but let's see what the differences are. The first one that it gave me was collage. And it gave me collage. I think I put an arrow there. Collage. It gave me collage. Mixed media. It did not give me mixed media here. So mixed media, see, it gives you different answers. And I asked the same question. So it seems like it interactively goes out and does what it needs to do to get the information. And it seems like it pulls different information at different times, whatever it happens to, however that its algorithm pulls that information. Hand lettering. Hand lettering is not on this. I'll read these, but hand lettering is a new one. Hand lettering, like calligraphy. Doodles. Now, I think it gave me doodles here. No. Doodles. This is different too. Doodles. These are all new ones. And illustrations. and illustrate doodles and illustrations. Personal reflection. No, I'll come back to these. These are all different. I ask it the same question. I ask it, what are some ideas from art journaling? Oh, here I just said ideas for art journaling. I didn't say what are. So maybe the way I ask it brings back different things. We'll go back into what it gave me here. Doodles and illustrations. Personal reflections. They didn't give me that one. Personal reflections. So if you're looking for inspiration, ask ChatGPT, what can I do for my art journal page? Probably give you a whole different answer. Nature inspiration. It gave me nature inspiration. It gave me that. Gratitude journaling. It gave me that one. Gratitude journaling. Color exploration. That's not here. So color exploration. You could do a whole journal off of a ChatGPT. Vision boarding. Vision boarding, that's not on here. Vision boarding. That might be something to research in itself. And the last one it gives is artistic prompts. Nope, it didn't give that. Artistic prompts. So, if you want some more that are not on this list, same question, only I didn't say what are. I just said ideas for art journaling. Expressive self-portraits. Oh, here it says daily prompts, and this says artistic prompts, so different words. Visualize goals. Here it says vision boarding, and this says visualize goals. Artistic techniques is not on here. My chat went away. Hold on. Artistic techniques, travel memories, poetry, and prose. And one thing it says up here, it says, remember that art journaling is a personal and expressive practice. So feel free to adapt these ideas to suit your unique style and interest. Let your creativity guide you and enjoy the process of creating in your art journal. And I think that was the last question that I asked it this afternoon. I did say search for art journals that are public without a copyright, and search for art journals in the public domain. We kind of did that. Journals published after death. This is from Sylvia. I wanted to write that down. So that is kind of my chat GPT AI experience on the topic of journaling. Now, this is just, I'll have to go in and fill in the blanks, but there are things that caught my attention in doing this. General interest journals, open access journals. I could say, what are some open access journals? Then I listed additional ones that I'll go back and fill in the blanks here. Probably get different answers. Here, I put a little side note. Next week, I want to do this similar type thing. I hope this is not boring you. I don't know if I'll do it as a live stream. I might do it as a uploaded video rather than a live stream, because I like live streaming in that, like Sylvia and Cheryl is filling in all the blanks, and Sylvia's given me a lot of information. Cheryl's dropping links. I like that about live streams. But when I'm focusing on this, I'm worried about taking time to list stuff, and it's different. If I'm doing a video, I can go back and edit out things, and so I don't know if I do the lettering, which I think, or letters, not lettering, but letters, I might do it as a uploaded podcast rather than a live stream here. But I find it interesting to do it as a live stream. What else interested me? Research, art forum. I wanted to research that art forum journal. And I want to go back and catch these, that specific journals in the field of art. I'm just kind of catching things that here we talked about private versus published personal journals. Because I think in the field of YouTube and online, when we do stuff online, that we're actually making our private journals, are not private, they call it private, our personal journals, we're kind of putting it out there. And they kind of touch on that where they say artists may share pages out of it, but we'll have journal flips. We'll do journal flips on our channels where we'll sit and go in an art journal. We'll go through, like here's my desk journal from the first part of this year. And we'll open it up. And although this is a personal journal, sort of private, but most of this I shared online. And we'll go through this one. I got tied shut. That's January. But we'll go through and we'll talk about what we did. Like we'll say, oh, I was doing needlework stitches there. And this is where I got this calendar page. And here I was playing with bobby pin embellishments. And this is a list of envelopes that I drew and sent to people. And here's, I was playing in February with wax seals. And, you know, we'll just go through the different things. That's a part of, I was doing these envelopes. Now here's where I started this guy and I didn't like him, so I started him over. And I sent that envelope out that I started over. And this one I did for Chris, down in Mexico. This was the little otter that I did for. I sent it off. I don't know if she ever got it. But I also sent her a soft copy. But I didn't like that one, and I started over. And then I just put my pieces in here. But we'll do a journal flip where we'll just, here's a little paper doll that I made, and I put it in there. That's what we'll do. So we are sharing our personal work, a lot of us. Here's a bobblehead doll that I made. His head bobbles. Here's a list of envelopes that I actually mailed out all of these. Here, I know I got 17 mailed, and I got the dates for these. I know I mailed about 20 off of them there. So we're sharing our personal art journaling in a public forum. So sometimes when we do personal journals, we do them for public consumption without sending it off to an editor or a museum or someplace like that. And that's what I like about YouTube. That's what I like. I'm not going to go through all of that. I just went through a few of them. So it is 9 o'clock. I'm done with my podcast. I started at 6, so we've spent 3 hours here talking about AI. I want to summarize in reviewing what I said earlier. Your artificial intelligence can be a tool. All tools can be used for good or for bad. Can be used for good purposes or evil purposes. I think we as artists need to look for ways that we can use artificial intelligence to create our own art, to put our own soul into information that we get from artificial intelligence. I think that artificial intelligence is, I haven't done a lot because I don't have access to it from my mobile phone yet. I haven't explored a lot of visual, like draw me a picture of Leonardo da Vinci or some of a famous artist. I haven't done a lot of the visual yet. I would like to, I just have not explored it. What I did explore, I had to have credit and buy credits, and I'm not going to purchase information. I will say, I think Google, I listen to a creator out there called Peggy K. That's her channel name, Peggy space K. She worked for Google. That's how I learned of her, because I had an issue with Google, and I learned of her. She answered one of my questions out on the help forum, and I found her very helpful. And so I always kind of kept her information, her name in my head, and I found her on the internet, and now she's doing a blog. I believe it's every Sunday. She does a video blog, kind of like a podcast, but she covers Google things. But she was talking, the reason I'm talking about her here is her session last Sunday. She talked about generative artificial intelligence that Google is working on, because Google does a lot of AI projects. But she's talking about integrating text and images and all of that. And I don't think she gave some bots that you could use out there, but I haven't explored them. But she is a very interesting, very knowledgeable person if you're interested in Google, the Google forum, not just YouTube. And she was very helpful. Now, I don't know if you would communicate with her. I haven't communicated with her on her podcast or anything yet, but if you drop a question, and she answers it, I think that you can pretty much rely on her answers. She's very knowledgeable. Her channel, I don't know where she's coming from, but it's a little choppy to me. So just bear with. I don't know what kind of technology she has. She might be, who knows, way out in a secluded area, not getting good internet service. I don't know. But I do like the information that she gives. But she was talking about generative AI last week, and I found her talk very, very interesting. So I found this very interesting. I just think it was fun to explore the topics of journaling. And I think there's a lot of ways that we can pick up some of these art journalers that it listed here and explore their art. Maybe we could do something in the style of Frida, in the style of, Madame Curie didn't do art, but maybe I can pick up something interesting from, not Madame Curie, but Marie Curie, Pablo Picasso, just different artists that you can learn from. So I'm going to, Cheryl said, awesome, Allie K. What did Allie K said? I've been playing with Merlin all afternoon. Sylvia says, I love spending time with you. Love your illustration sketches. You're with me and my morning pages. Oh, really? And that's why I'm quiet, and I also have many working journals. Oh, that's interesting, Sylvia. I'm so glad you popped in tonight. I'll bet you're an interesting person to chat with. Sylvia says, Aunt Beck introduces us to an app called Merlin. You can identify birds and their sources by pictures. I found it fascinating. Thank you, Becky. Sorry, off topic. Oh, that's not off topic. That's perfectly okay to mention that. Cheryl, Merlin, I saw just a snatch of that today. I tell you, I was tired this afternoon and I fell asleep. I like watching Aunt Beck. A commonplace book. Oh, commonplace journals. Let me write this down. Yes, Sylvia. Commonplace. Let's put that on our list. Commonplace journal. See, this list just grows. We're up to 39. I stopped at, 35? 39. Commonplace journals. Because we've done commonplace. Shannon Green has one that's got a different term to it. I can't remember what it is. What does she call that journal where she'll take one thing like labels, like let's just say a cigarette label or a needlework label, a DMC label, and she'll do in mass journals. I think she's calling them 40 in mass journals, MASSE, where, like, let's say, and I think I did the labels from the DMC floss, and you put them all out there and you make a journal page of labels. You can make a journal page of A's, a journal page of B's that you find, it may be in magazines or books, and you just page after page of the same type thing on one page in mass journals. She has another one, and it's slipping my tongue right now. Let's see. You got the Chat AI from the Google Play Store. I wonder if that's similar to, is it by the OpenAI? Because I just went out to the OpenAI and went to Chat GPT. Now, Chat AI might be different than Chat GPT. So I don't know. I'm not that knowledgeable about all the differences. So I'm going to let you guys go early. I generally go until 10 o'clock on Sunday nights. But I don't want to jump into anything else. I want to keep this as a podcast. I want to thank you all for joining me. And I want to thank everybody out there who's watching the replay, who might be in the balcony knitting or doing art or whatever you're doing. But try ChatGPT and just know that it's AI. And even ChatGPT, it's in its infancy. It's in its infancy, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to grow. So I wish you all a really good week next week, and go out and enjoy your days. You only get one day at a time, and you only get one life, so we might as well make up our minds to enjoy it. And if you have to go through some things you don't enjoy, I wish you the best. And just remember that it doesn't last forever. It may last a certain amount of time, but it won't last forever. And just try to find some good around you. Keep those happy memories at hand. Good night, everybody. Have a great week.